Hey Jackson, happy graduation. I think everybody's submitting videos to you. I've made this a couple of times. Every time it ends up a little too tearful for a video, but it's just kind of crazy, bud. You're graduating. We grew up together, and it's just been a wild, crazy, wonderful time. And there's too many memories to unpack. It feels overwhelming, but it always starts with you wanting me to rock you to sleep after we read Brown Bear 5 or 6 times in a row until your legs were touching the floor in that creaky old rocker. Those long legs of yours were dragging the floor before you stopped wanting me to rock you to sleep. And everything from Angry Bird birthdays to playing you in Mortal Kombat and Chattanooga. And I think about that. There's a video from you when we were little in Christmas, and you were drinking this root beer, and you really liked the way it tasted, but the fizz was overpowering your little 2-year-old body, and so you kept trying to stop drinking it, and your eyes started watering, but you loved it so much you just kept going. And you finished the root beer through the tears. And I was thinking about that kind of as an interesting metaphor for you as a person, because you tend to have a very strong finish even when it's tough. And I know that's not great because it was a root beer and it did taste good, but we were legit crying by the time you drank the whole thing. But just want you to know I'm proud of you, and you're always going to be successful because of who you are. And I'm always here if you need me. I love you, bud.
Follow your dreams.
Follow your dreams. That's good advice. What else?
Never give up, even when it's going rough.
Hi, Jackson. It's me. Congratulations. I don't know if you remember, but we met when you were 2 years old, about 3 feet tall. And what I remember about you is that you were always smiling. You introduced me to VeggieTales. I never heard of it before. You were very excited about Angry Birds, Spider-Man. One time, if you remember, brought you a Sesame Street monster that I took to the top of the Empire State Building. So now you're graduating. Congratulations. You're 35 years old, as tall as Big Birds or the Empire State Building at this point, who knows. But yeah, what I see is that you're still smiling and you're becoming the man that we all knew you were going to become. So congratulations again. Best wishes for what comes next, and look forward to see what you have in mind.
So one of my favorite memories was a few years ago. You came for a visit to Florence, and you and Nat decided y'all wanted to play a game. So we ended up playing Trial by Trolley. And if you don't know what that is, it's you've got a train conductor, and you have your people on one side of the track and your opponent's people on the other side of the track, and you have to argue and debate over which side the conductor should take the train down. So your people are going to get run over or the other people, so you have to debate to keep your people alive, and you've got good and bad people on your side. And so we get debating, and I'm playing with like 4 young teens, and so they were coming up with the average teen answers. Then Jackson gets to debating, and he's just like, spouting stuff off the top of his head, like. And in that moment I realized, like, this kid can argue his way out of anything. And definitely get it from your mama, just so you know. I've seen her use those skills a time or two back in the day. But I knew these skills were gonna take him far, and it was such a fun day playing that game with them, and just listen to them use their brain and use some real life skills. Anyways, so but congratulations, buddy. I miss you, and I'm proud of you, and I can't wait to see what you do with your life.
The funniest story that I remember about Jackson was he was about 5 years old, and we were together, and I said, Jackson, you are so smart. You're so handsome and witty. And I said, you could be president one day. And I said, that will make me so happy because I'll get to move into the White House with you and we're going to be rich. And he said, like, he waited like about a second or two and he said, you're going to be so dead by the time I would be president. And that's still the funniest thing. He said it so fast without having to add the years up or anything. So he was right about that. I would be so dead by the time he was president. So I love that story. That's our Jackson. We love you, Jackson.
Okay, this is my funny story about Jackson. When Jackson was about 10 years old, he would come and stay with us here in Huntsville, and he would sleep on a blow-up mattress in our bedroom because there were a lot of big rooms in the house. Apparently, because I have type 1 diabetes, I had some really low blood sugar one night as I was going to sleep, and I started talking, and I was talking out of my mind, and I don't remember any of it, but apparently I was talking about how much our dogs poop because we have 4 small dogs, and that I thought they would win a contest of pooping, and Jackson apparently remembered that and got up the next morning and did this drawing for me, and it shows apparently I won a dog pooping contest. And it says #1 turd.
He's got stick. Yeah, there's a little badge right here is the #1 turd award.
And I don't know what the stick is for, but I guess he's gonna poke it, and he hopes all my dreams come true. That's my funny story.
Hey, baby Jack. I know you are not really a baby anymore and about to be 18 and graduating high school, which is mind-blowing. But you're always going to be that cute little dude wearing overalls and the pacifier and no shirt and talking about pirate goes, arr. But you're going to do such amazing things, and your mom has sacrificed and worked so hard to make sure that you were someone that would be loving and strong and capable. And I really hope that you know how much your mom has put in for you. And I really love that I got to see the whole thing. I really love that I got to be with you on your first Halloween. You were dressed as a lobster, in case you don't remember. I'm just so excited that I get to see you do the next chapter of your life. And I really hope that I get to be at your college graduation party too. You're amazing, Jack. I cannot wait to see what you do next. Love you.
Well, one of my favorite memories of Jackson is he was probably 8 years old, and he was visiting church with Stephanie and me. And it came time to take communion, and he didn't know what to do. And when it's your row's turn, you go down to the front, and you get a little cup of grape juice, and you break off a piece of unleavened bread. We asked him when they got ready for communion if he wanted to take it, and he said, yeah, that'd be fine. And he went down with us. They gave him the grape juice and the bread, and he watched us, and we all partook of it. And then we walked back up to our seats and sat down. And he leaned over to Stephanie and said, you know, that grape juice and bread are pretty good together. So we knew that he didn't completely grasp what was going on, which we didn't expect him to. But we all had the giggles, I think, for the rest of the service.
Hey, Jackson. I cannot believe I'm making a video for you graduating high school. It seems like literally yesterday when I was living with your mom in an apartment. You were about 3 months old, and you were the sweetest baby. You were a feisty toddler, but you've always been such a sweet kid and so funny and so smart. Some of my favorite memories with you were in Chattanooga when I had just moved there, and I got to kind of keep you at my apartment for a summer. We would go to Merv's to eat burgers or Mexican food. We would do that. So that was a lot of fun. But the funniest memory I have of you was when I was babysitting you. You were probably about 5 or 6, and you wanted McDonald's for dinner. So I took you, we pulled up, you said you wanted chicken nuggets, fries, and a large Coke. And you were the only kid I was around pretty much at that time. So I didn't know what kids drank, but I was pretty sure it wasn't Coke. And so I said, Jackson, have you ever had Coke before? And you were like, yeah, I drink Coke all the time. So I was like, okay. So I was like, I'll meet him in the middle and I'll get a medium, just to be sure. So we get our food, you're eating, you start getting really chatty, and you start saying some off the wall stuff. And then all of a sudden you were like, Aunt Rachel, I don't feel very good. And I was like, Jackson, did you drink that Coke? And you said, yeah, I drank the whole thing. So now I'm panicking, and I call your mom and I said, Hannah, I'm with Jackson and we're at McDonald's, and he wants to drink a Coke, and I'm just making sure that's cool. He says he drinks them all the time. And your mom started laughing and was like, no, he does not drink Coke, and he does not need to have a Coke. And I was like, uh-oh, well, too late. He's had a Coke and he doesn't feel good. So your mom had to leave work and take you home. Your stomach was not feeling very good that night. Anyways, I am very excited to see where you go next. I know you're about to enter a very fun chapter of life, and we're also proud of you, and congratulations.
So Jackson, to try and talk about how you've influenced my life in a minute, it feels impossible for me to do, because since the minute I laid eyes on you, you turned my world upside down in every good way. Such an easy baby, so pleasant to be around. At 47 years old, to think I was a grandmother and that I was going to get a grandmother name, and what was that going to be? And you named me Telly. I would hear you call me from your crib in the morning, and it would be Towie, Towie, Towie. And I knew I better hurry because you were anticipating my arrival. And so I was so proud to have the name Telly because you gave it to me. And then Thursdays were the best day of the week, and established a Telly Day that I got to spend with you every week, and it meant so much to me. It was my favorite day of the week, and I convinced you it was the best day of the week. Whether it was or not, I convinced you it was. And we had a lot of good times going to Chick-A-Way and the park, and you taking your toys, and you never met a stranger. It was evident from the time you could walk that you were going to have an incredibly high EQ. I didn't know what your IQ was going to be, which is amazing too, but your EQ, the way that you relate to people, the way you can talk to adults, children, old people, young people, it doesn't matter. You never meet a stranger. It's just a gift, and you've had it since you were a baby. And I got to bear witness to that, and it's one of the biggest blessings of my life. So to think about you graduating from high school and moving on into your adult life, I have every confidence in the world that you're gonna You're going to be great. Just like you've been these 17, almost 18 years that we've been fortunate to watch you develop. And so it is with every confidence that I send you off into the world to know that you're going to make a difference just by being yourself. You're enough just the way you are. And whatever life brings you will be to your good and to your advantage. And so I just want you to know how proud I am to be your Telly, and how much confidence I have in your future, and how grateful I am to be a part of your life. And I love you to the moon and back.
Jackson, Jackie Doodle, Doodlehead, Doodle McFriddle, I cannot believe that the day has finally come for you to graduate. And truthfully, I'm not gonna I'll write you a letter and say everything I want to say to you, because I'll never make it through this video otherwise. But I cannot believe how wonderful of a human being you have turned out to be. I mean, I tell people all the time, like, I could not have asked for a better son, and a child that I am more confident in going out into the world and starting his life. You have, like your dad said, I have grown up with you, and you're more than just a kid to me, because you have been my roommate and my best friend, and it's a very special relationship. And I cannot imagine what my life would look like without you in it, and I am just so proud of you every single day. I honestly could not have asked for a better kid. And I want to tell a funny story, which you've heard, Jackson, but when you were about 5, you were in a phase that you were throwing quite a lot of temper tantrums. And you were wearing these like striped Christmas pajamas, and your little belly was hanging out of them. And you did not want to go to sleep. And you were at this phase in your life where it was like you were having temper tantrums all the time. So I had gotten to where whenever you would throw temper tantrums, I would get out a trash bag and say, okay, let's start picking out toys to give to the needy children. And so you were throwing a temper tantrum, didn't want to go to sleep. I said, okay, Jackson, go stand in the corner. And so I said, you can either stand in the corner or you can go to sleep. And so you chose to stand in the corner for a little while, and you were crying and no, you know, doing stuff like that. And I said, okay, well, I guess we're gonna get out the trash bag then. No. I got out the trash bag and I put like the first toy into it, and you're like, no. And I said, okay, well, then you have to go to bed. And you're like, no. And so I put in another one and this one on, and then I got to like a toy that you really loved. I don't remember what it was. And you go, everything is turning to nothing. And I said, you're right, Jackson. It's okay. You can get out of town. And I died laughing. And I still to this day say, everything's turning to nothing. I just thought that was the most hilarious, poignant thing that like a 5-year-old could say. And you were just so hilarious as a kid, and you're hilarious now. I mean, you make me laugh all the time, and you're so smart and witty, and I just absolutely, I'm just amazed at you, Jackson, and it's really cool for me to get you to see you come full circle and go to MTSU where your dad and I went. So I'm glad you're not going far away, and I'm so excited to see how the rest of your life turns out. I love you, Jackson.
Mint the Bobcat, written and illustrated by Jackson Hillen. Mint had been raised on peppermints since he was a baby. He loved them.